All right, listen up. Your players have too much gold. Somebody had to say it. They're swimming in it. They're buying horses for fun. And one of them just tipped a barkeep a diamond. So let's change that. Here are in character, totally fair ways to separate adventurers from their wealth. And I'm doing this in a way that doesn't nerf them or break immersion. It's just fun things to do for them to spend their money on. So let's jump into it now. Number one, we have potion shops. Players want potions. They're going to pay for potions. And the good stuff, right? The greater healings, the antitoxin to that weird venom they got from that one animal, things like water breathing, those aren't cheap. And so finding a place for them to go and buy these potions is a great way for them to get rid of all of that excess gold. Now, number two, and a really, really easy one, is that every city worth entering has a gate tax. If you've ever driven the freeways into San Francisco, there are tolls galore. There are tolls all over Florida. So obviously, some cities are going to charge more depending on where you are. Some of them might charge you more if you look armed or if you look dangerous or if you look like a walking health hazard or like a freak, because there are some of you that are straight up playing creatures that shouldn't exist. You know, so like if your player is walking into the town with a bear, well, that's another 5 gold, or 1 or 2 gold for putting the horse in the stable for the day. And that's not including the tip. And you have weapons. Oh, well, there's this 5 silver registration fee, and then there's a gold to house them. For each day that you're going to need to put them in our armory, you know, what have you. Then at number 3, we have tavern lifestyles with hidden costs. And I think this is one that people forget to do a lot because it's just a tavern and you don't have to be super nitpicky, but every time they go into a tavern, the room is going to cost food. And that room is going to, you know, if they want to get a room, that's one thing. But if they want to get a room with food, that's another thing. What about drink? What if they need to tip the bards? What if there's a cleaning fee because somebody was, you know, stabbed over a game of dice, and now they've included a cleaning fee in every room. Well, now your players are down 20 gold, and all they did was go to bed, right? So just think about those lifestyle costs every time they go into a tavern or they go to an inn. Now, number 4, gambling, but it's not rigged, right? Sometimes the dice are just not in your favor. So by creating games that they can play, not necessarily always in a tavern, I think it'd be really fun for them to run into things like out in the middle of the street, or in buildings if you're talking about like a Magic Vegas. Let the players beat themselves up, right? By choosing to risk it all. I think that's very, very fun and totally fair, in my opinion, for them to lose it. And the moment that one of them wins big, well, now they're addicted to it and you can get them into this really vicious cycle. And so it's sort of like loot-flavored capitalism, I guess. And it's even better if you have them go to a Magic Vegas because they could just spend it all, you know, instead of going to a bar or doing something important like saving the world. And you can really sprinkle in a lot of that in various ways, depending on the place that they're visiting. So gambling. Now, at number 5, taxes and tithes, right? It doesn't matter if it's a kingdom, if it's a guild, a local church or temple or whatever, somebody always wants a cut of their money. And adventurers aren't just carrying swords, right? They look wealthy because they've got all these magic items. So a party that's counting platinum in the middle of a town square because they're trying to figure out how to buy the next item, well, that's going to make the local mayor strong arm them, in my opinion, for 50 gold, or they can get kicked out because that's the local fee or whatever. So that's a great way to make them not only hate a character and unite the party, but it also gives them a reason to always have a little bit of extra money, or maybe come up with a payment plan or something in order to be able to live in a city. So just remember that taxes are a thing. So if they have a home in the city, they're probably going to be paying taxes to somebody or multiple people. Now, number 6, weapon repairs and enchantments. And this one isn't necessary, and I think this is an optional one, but I really like leaning into the thing that, like, magic gear doesn't maintain itself, right? Sure, it doesn't break, and I don't know, you can decide as a DM how far you want to go into that. Personally, I still think that a magic item would gather things like grime, right? And maybe not necessarily rust, but grime is going to happen. They might need sharpening, right? I think that's fair. I don't know. That's just me. I like leaning into the reality and into that, into the more gritty style of play. So that works at my table, right? But also blacksmiths and mages can also just offer really cool upgrades. So it doesn't have to be necessarily weapon repairs. It could be weapon enchantments, right? So they can upgrade their weapons or do basic tune-ups, like making it a +1. And that is something that can be expensive. And then on top of that, you can have them spending money on other enchanted items that are maybe pre-made, magic swords, enchanted items, things that are going to, like your removable rods, your bag of holdings, items like that that are going to be pivotal to their adventuring party. that are maybe not necessarily easy to find, that's a great way. You can have them spend a lot more money by making these items less accessible so that when they come across them, they'll save every little penny in order to buy them. Now, number 7, they could just get robbed. Like, that's a very easy one, and I personally really like this one because it's very fun to just have a street urchin lead into a story hook, a thief that's a long lost friend of theirs, or a guild thief that lured them into a trap, takes their money, and now they have a vendetta against somebody. So really, really fun way to just get them to lose all of the money that they have saved. As long as you don't do it too much, it shouldn't make anybody mad. I think it's just the truth, right? If you're walking around town in shining armor and covered in magic items, you're probably going to draw attention. Now, at number 8, fairies. Wagons, teleportation circles, bribing an airship captain that hates them, right? Getting from point A to point B is basically the good one. If they're lugging around a bear or a giant chest or something like that, then you can get them to spend money by just trying to get from one place to another. Even just taking a trolley in the city or taking a gondola from down at the base of the mountain to the top of the mountain, right? Try to find little ways to get them to spend money. They have a lot of it, I promise you. It's just going to make it feel more real for them. And if they have a problem with it, have them talk to you, right? And tone it down. But this is a great way to get them to manage their money more effectively. And then at number 9, custom commissions and vanity costs. So these can be things like literally just pure flavor, but very, very devastatingly effective. We do it all the time in video games, right? Just to get skins. So custom armor that has the party logo. Well, that's 300 gold and they have to wait 2 weeks. They could have a bard write a ballad about the group. They could have somebody create a statue at their keep. Players really love leaving their mark in the world. So if you can let them upgrade things like their home or their ship, or even if it's just aesthetic things like paint color, you can have them do that for a price, and then the world can slowly start to treat them like celebrities because they're getting all of this money into the local economy. So that's a really fun way to do it. Now at number 10, really simple one, experiences. So things like shows, museums, fortune tellers, carnivals, these are all really, really fun ways for them to do things. So theaters, balls, anything where they have to sit down and watch something, that's a great way for them to spend their money. So really, actually, honestly, leave me some comments down below. I want to know what experiences you have used, because my list here was very small and very slim. Now, number 11, probably my favorite one here, very simply said, pets, right? Every player loves pets and every DM hates pets because they're just an extra thing to keep track of. But having them buy a horse or a pigeon or a dog or a cat, any of those weird things, you can have them do that for a price, right? You can just, like Baldur's Gate 3, you can have them get a dog, you can have them get a baby owlbear that they can raise, whatever the case. It could become a full adult owlbear by the end of the campaign, or maybe in the next campaign 20 years later, what have you. But pets is a great, great way. There are so many video games that do this too, where they just make you spend real life money just to have a little companion that does absolutely nothing in the game. Now, at number 12, you have useless items, and I think this one is fair game. I'm not kidding when I tell you my party in a previous campaign spent all of their money. It was something like 300 gold that they had at the moment in order to buy some glowing stones. It was basically a guy selling a barrel full of stones on the side of the road, and he had just cast light permanently on these little stones. So with an action word, the stone would glow. Action word, it would turn off. That was it. That's all they did. And my party used them so effectively to lay trails for themselves in caves, to use them to throw down holes to see how deep things were. They were basically flares. And they spent so much money and actually made this guy's life. He was able to start a store, and they continued to come back to the town just to buy more of them. So they literally bought the whole barrel. So when I say useless items, I'm talking about mundane magical items that do very little things that maybe help them on their adventures, but probably don't. I think that players are more than willing to do that. At number 13, a base or a ship, right? I think they could very easily be split up, but I think that a base or a ship could kind of serve the same purpose, right? You have a place for them to go back to. You have a place that serves as a location for them to leave things, for them to hire people, for them to kind of fall in love with, so that if and when you ever get to the point where the city gets destroyed, or they lose that place, or somebody steals it from them, or the government takes it from them, it feels like a real loss, right? And I think that it's also a very, very fun way, especially with the new rules out for those things, where you can have them customize things, and it takes time. It gives you a reason to give them downtime to do all of their activities, because they need to wait a few weeks for them to build the new tower, or for them to paint the ship, or add a mast, or add a deck to the ship or what have you. And it works as a place for them to kind of make their own. And I think that's a really, really fun way. So there you have it. There's 13 fun ways to make your players open their wallets. Now, go to the comments. Let me know where you saw Tobias in this video. You just might get shouted out in the next one. Shouted out, not shitted out. Shouted. And that's all for today, folks. So thank you so much for watching. Forge on, my friends. And remember, respect the dice gods or suffer their wrath.